About 2 years ago, I went to Kopan Monastery and left my phone, laptop back at home. And for 15 days, completely disconnected with the world, stayed with 300 monks. The larger thesis is that we are going to have flying taxis. We're going to have, moving rooms. 5-7 years from now, when the traveling salesman's problem will be solved. There are multiple ways to measure efficiency. If you divide our GBR, which is gross booking revenue by employees, we have maximum number of gross booking revenue divided by per employee. So compared to all our competitors. Imagine the day when the CEO itself is a computer, which is deciding which is the best way to move forward for the company.
So the AI takes over.
I mean, okay, I gotta go full throttle.
Inspiring journeys driven by Audi.
This couch is 7,000 crore. This house is 7,000 crore. This company is actually worth 7,000 crore. EaseMyTrip, one of the few startups which is actually profitable. And I'm sitting with one of the co-founders, one of the brothers, Prashant Pitti. Prashant, first of all, thank you for having us in your house. Beautiful house. And I think I'm the first guest to come in.
Yes, Ramesh, you are the first guest to be over here. Thank you for coming. We only moved in this house 15 days ago.
And it's such a beautiful house. And I love the balcony.
So Ramesh, this house is still in the making. As I told you that we moved 15 days ago. There's a lot of things which is still pending.
Yeah.
But the view is amazing.
The view is amazing. I think thank you for having us because I want to do this series with you and you're the first one you're doing it. Who is Prashant Pitti?
That's a very complicated question because even I believe that as humans, we should be fluid and we should have capacity and capability to keep revolving ourselves. Right. So if it depends on which Prashant Pitti are you asking. Prashant Pitti, who quit his job and moved back from US to India, was a stupid Prashant Pitti on very high hopes. And Prashant Pitti of now is a lot more subtle, is a lot less risk-taking than what I was before.
But what defines Prashant Pitti?
I am actually very analytical person. My wife has a constant, I'm married. My wife has always a constant complaint that I'm too less emotional and very analytical, very...
like a techie from IT Madras.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what the engineers are usually, right?
Correct.
So very number oriented, very analytical, less emotional. And I would like to believe that this is what has also made me.
Prashant, what are your interests?
I'm also evolving. Since last 2 years, I have started to love chess.
Really?
And I'm playing chess a lot. And the other thing which, besides work, keeps me busy is these days I'm gaining my religion.
Means?
So, I'm discovering spirituality.
Zen mode on.
Okay. So about 2 years ago, I went to Kopan Monastery and left my phone, laptop back at home. And for 15 days, completely disconnected with the world, stayed with 300 monks. And
wow, must be a surreal experience.
Yes, for the first 2-3 days, I had a hard time adjusting without any dopamine, right? But then after third day, I realized that that's probably the best way to live life. And I stayed there for 15
So when you joined back, your market cap went up by how much percent? You must be having something in the back of the mind.
That's a good one.
So Prashant, what are you passionate about?
Well, basically, as an entrepreneur, I love creating businesses and I love creating value. And I believe businesses are done primarily for two reasons. One is basically to add tremendous amount of value in your customer's life.
Correct.
And second, to do it profitably so that you can do it for a long tenure of period of time. So besides EaseMyTrip, there are multiple other businesses as well, which we run.
Correct. And there's one more reason why you do business, to make money.
That's profitable. Yes, absolutely.
So do you like automobiles?
Yes, I do. We also have some shares of automobiles. However, these days I'm going a little bit calmer on them. However, if I see a good automobile, I'm happy to drive around in it.
But I have just that perfect automobile, hot and sexy. Let me take you for a drive.
Let's do that.
Let's go.
That's a great pickup. What else do you expect from an EV, huh? A lot of torque coming out.
Correct. 646 brake horsepower, 830 Newton meters of torque, and this does 0 to 100 in 3.2 seconds. But what about the journey of EMT? Tell me about that.
Well, we started this company about 15 years ago, and at that time we invested about 15 lakh rupees of capital in the company. And later on we learned
15 lakhs.
that's the only money which went inside EaseMyTrip.
7,000 crore. Wow, what a journey, man. If somebody had put that much money there, he would be buying a palatial house in this, which is now worth 250 crores, right?
So basically the idea was to create something for travel agents. My two younger brothers, Nishant and Rikant, while I was in the US, they were running a mom and pop travel agency called as Duke Travel Agency.
Correct.
And my brothers are 10 times more brilliant than I am. And they decided to basically create a software company out of travel agency. And hence the first version of EaseMyTrip was solving a pain point of a travel agent.
Right.
And 3 years we did that. And then we converted our company to a consumer tech company, where almost 20 million people use EaseMyTrip on yearly basis these days.
So, how do you describe progress?
According to me, world is moving only in one direction, and the direction is basically to be more efficient.
Correct.
The efficiency is the benchmark or the number which I look forward to in my life or in business or anything,
Right.
to be more efficient with time.
Okay.
And there are multiple ways to measure efficiency. First is basically how well are you able to delegate your work to the others, and how
Right.
well are they able to do it. In fact, very recently I was asked this question that EaseMyTrip has the lowest number of employees as you know, if you divide our GBR, which is gross booking revenue, by employees, we have maximum number of gross booking revenue divided by per employee.
Per employee.
So compared to all our competitors. So I was asked this question that how much more efficient can EaseMyTrip become?
Correct.
And my answer to that was basically, as long as there is even one person required in the company. Imagine the day when the CEO itself is a computer, which is deciding which is the best way to move forward for the company.
So the AI takes over.
When probably the AI takes over, I believe that the travel itself is going to be dramatically changed with this AI world. For example, I have a huge take on hotels becoming a little bit redundant. 5-7 years from now, when the traveling salesman's problem will be solved, and using those as a tool, we'll be able to have much more efficient life.
So you think that's where the progress of humanity, work, everything is moving towards?
So I have a very hot take around this. I believe that the travel itself is going to be dramatically changed with this AI world. For example, I have a huge take on hotels becoming a little bit redundant. Imagine the day 10 years from now when the traveling salesman problem will be solved by quantum computing.
Okay.
And with that problem being solved, we can actually see a lot of pods, which are, let's just say, 1-bedroom pods, driverless pods, moving around, taking you from one place to the other. Imagine you travel from Bangalore to Chandigarh,
Right.
but you just take off at Delhi airport,
Right.
and at Delhi airport, a car, moving self-driving car with 1 bedroom comes and picks you up and takes
20
you
years
to
down the line, 10 years down the line.
5 years down the line. 5 years down. I believe
I
that.
see those ship hangars converting to houses.
Correct.
That's become a thing because people
Correct.
buy land off land, they just put that ready-made house, 25 lakhs, you are
Yes.
done.
And another company, exciting company in which I'm also an investor because I have a very strong thesis around it, is basically flying taxis.
Yeah, I'll come to that. This you invested, it's called biplanes.
It's called as E-planes.
E-planes.
E-planes. The larger thesis is that we are going to have flying taxis. We are going to have, moving rooms.
Nice.
5-7 years from now, when the traveling salesman's problem will be solved, and using those as a tool, we'll be able to have much more efficient life for ourselves.
And then how far is that startup from reality? When can I actually land in your place?
I
in that
believe
taxi.
I believe the flying taxi is only 3 to 4 years from now.
Reality.
It's
And when
only
did you
3.
invest in this startup?
I invested about 3 years ago in this startup. See, basically,
It's going good. I mean,
It's going great. It's
You
actually
enjoy-
much more safer to be in flying taxi, self-driven flying taxi than the self-driven car.
100%.
Because self-driven taxis,
in
air
India, I don't see
taxis.
self-driven cars becoming a reality.
Correct. Because of the roads, right?
The
But
roads and
the
durability.
air is much easy to control.
Hmm.
You need one GDS system for self-driving taxis, air taxis,
Okay.
and that I've also invested in one of those companies, which is basically making GDS
So that's another sustainable company. That's another sustainable thing that you're doing, right? This
Correct.
Is electric scooter company.
Correct. So there's a company which is run by my batchmate from IIT Madras. It's called as Liger.
Liger. Okay.
What they do is they make electric scooters which are self-balancing
With
the gyroscope. So
same company which got a patent or something?
yes, this company got multiple patents in US and India. So using gyroscope as a technology, you don't have to keep your foot down.
So
Imagine if you're driving an electric scooter and at the red light, you can just keep your leg up. And because maybe you're short, the average Indian woman height is about 5.1 feet, right?
True.
So for them, it is actually very difficult and
It
cumbersome
started
to
a
drive.
woman or men?
It is started by a couple of guys,
But it's
but
targeted to women or men?
it's targeted more towards the elderlies and women of India.
And how far do you think the startup is from?
I think about 1 year away from being in production.
So among other startups, I mean, I know you guys have invested in a lot of startups, but these two are the one on the sustainable side, right?
Correct.
Sustainable
That is
side.
correct. Correct. Besides that, at EaseMyTrip, we do multiple things for sustainability. We have an EaseMyTrip Foundation,
Right,
which is a sister company of EaseMyTrip.
right.
And at EaseMyTrip Foundation, we look after multiple parks and multiple bridges
Okay.
across India.
Uh-huh.
And basically, the idea is to make India more beautiful, which is directly linked to our sector, tourism.
So what percentage of your earnings, etc., do you invest in that?
I think almost about 7 to 8% of
Oh,
our
nice.
earnings go into our this activity foundation.
That's amazing. That's awesome. What else? I mean, what else does progress signify to you in life in general?
See, one thing for personal, as a personal hobby of mine, I'm trying to understand human psychology, what drives people, and I'm trying to learn as much as possible. And I can only connect the dots when I look in the behind of
Right.
what made EaseMyTrip successful, as you asked.
Steve Jobs' famous quote is this. You can always connect the dots looking behind.
Behind, yes, because at that moment you're just living your life.
Correct.
Only later on you can realize that what made you do what you did.
Right.
At EaseMyTrip, we primarily grew bootstrap, grew profitably, while all our competitors were always burning money, probably because we had a great strength in managing teams.
Yeah.
And our employees act almost like founders themselves
Right.
and have performed for the company.
Thank you so much, Prashant, for spending time with us. And I know you want to drive this car now.
Of course. I mean, okay, I gotta go full throttle.
Prashant, tell me about some of your screw-ups in life.
Oh, I have so many. But rather than calling them screw-ups,
It's professional.
yes,
Professional screw-ups in life.
I would call them as a learning curve. I've had a couple of startups where they didn't take off the way I wanted them to take off. For example, in year 2008, when I came back to India, I thought of doing something for sports.
Okay.
And I started a company called as India Khelo.
When you say I, means you three brothers together.
All three together.
Always, right?
Yes, always. So we started a company called as India Khelo. Basically, it was to promote sports and fitness at the school level.
Right.
Now, that probably was not the right time for the country.
Okay.
This is actually a great time to do something like that. In fact, Government of India started something called as I started India Khelo, and Government of India started Khelo India.
Khelo India.
Khelo India is a product, which is pretty much just the same
You
thing.
know, as every startup, it's all about timing.
It's all
Most
about
of the startup
timing.
fail because of timing,
Correct,
not because
correct.
of money,
Correct.
entrepreneur,
Or the idea.
or
It's
the
just
idea.
about timing.
It was about timing. Second screw-up.
Second Screwup was based
So how much
on-
money you lost there?
Well, we didn't lose money. It was still profitable. We were able to sell that company.
But it was not worth the time, is it?
It was just about that was not the right time. It could have created something much bigger had we started that about a decade later.
All right.
But we sold that company to the king of Jordan actually. So,
Oh, nice. Wow. I mean, that's not a screw-up from any imagination stretch. Second one, Prashant.
Second company, this was basically related to another company which we created. It was called as Bright India. Again,
Bright
most of
India.
the
I heard
companies
this
which,
company's name, right?
yes, most of the companies which we have created are, with the vision of what India should be.
Okay.
And Bright India was teaching in the rural parts of India using VSAT technology. At that time, there was no internet. I'm talking about year 2010-11.
Right.
And we created Bright India to basically inculcate higher education in rural parts of India using satellite as a technology.
Right.
Again, that company, we didn't lose money. That company, you may not You may say that it's not a screw up again, but it didn't lead to something as big as what we wanted to.
Acha.
So yes, these were the two examples I wanted to share.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and even talking about your screw-ups. You can tell me your personal screw-ups personally. And guys, if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Please comment down below, because this is the first of its kind series where we go to a successful founder's house, office, and then we take them for a drive. That is what we do best. Thank you, Prashant. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. You're loving the car, I can see that.
I don't want this to cut right now.